Good evening. Tonight, we witness a pivotal moment in the history of international commerce and American law. Earlier today, the Supreme Court delivered a stunning verdict, striking down the steel and aluminum tariffs imposed by former President Trump in 2018. These tariffs, which were justified on grounds of national security, had sent shockwaves through global trade, sparking fierce debates and retaliatory measures from key U.S. allies and trading partners. In a landmark 6-3 decision, the court has brought an end to a contentious era that not only strained diplomatic alliances, but also disrupted vital supply chains across industries. The ruling is being hailed as a turning point for both domestic manufacturers and international exporters. By limiting presidential authority, the Supreme Court has reaffirmed a fundamental principle. Congress, not the executive branch, holds the constitutional power to levy taxes and regulate commerce. This decision reasserts the checks and balances at the heart of American democracy, ensuring that no single branch can unilaterally reshape the nation's economic landscape. International leaders and economic experts are welcoming the move, anticipating a return to more stable, rules-based trade. Many hope this will lead to the lifting of retaliatory tariffs that have affected everything from agriculture to technology, and restore trust among global trading partners. The case challenged the use of national security as a pretext for economic protectionism. The court found that the executive branch had overstepped its bounds, setting a clear limit on how far presidential powers can reach in matters of trade and national security. This decision sets a powerful precedent for future administrations, sending a strong message about the separation of powers. It signals the beginning of a new chapter for American trade policy, one that may be more predictable and transparent for businesses and governments alike. The full impact of this historic shift will unfold in the coming weeks and months as businesses, lawmakers, and international partners adjust to a dramatically changed landscape in global trade. To truly understand today's Supreme Court ruling, we need to rewind to 2018, a year that marked a dramatic turning point in U.S. trade policy and global economic relations. That year, the Trump administration shocked both domestic and international audiences by imposing steep tariffs on imported steel and aluminum, citing national security as the primary justification. Relying on Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, the administration argued that a weakened American metals industry posed a direct threat to U.S. defense capabilities, making it a matter of national security to protect domestic production. The move was met with immediate and vocal backlash. U.S. allies, including some of the country's closest trading partners, condemned the tariffs. American manufacturers and industry leaders warned that the new costs would ripple through the economy, raising prices for consumers and making U.S. products less competitive abroad. In response, the European Union, Canada, and Mexico quickly retaliated with their own tariffs, targeting iconic American goods like bourbon, motorcycles, and agricultural products. This tit-for-tat escalation deepened the conflict and threatened billions in U.S. exports. The resulting trade war sent shockwaves through global supply chains. Factories faced higher input costs, shipping delays became common, and many American exporters suddenly found themselves locked out of key international markets. While some U.S. steel and aluminum producers enjoyed a brief surge in business, the broader economy suffered. Small businesses struggled to absorb rising costs, and some were forced to close their doors for good. Legal challenges soon followed. Although lower courts initially upheld the president's authority to impose tariffs on national security grounds, the controversy over executive power and trade policy continued to simmer. In 2024, the Supreme Court agreed to hear the case, setting the stage for a historic decision that would revisit the limits of presidential authority and the future of American trade. The legacy of these tariffs is complex. They left behind economic uncertainty, strained relationships with key allies, and ignited a fierce legal battle over the scope of presidential power in trade. Now, with the Supreme Court's ruling, that turbulent chapter in U.S. trade history has finally come to a close. The Supreme Court's 6-3 ruling declared the Trump administration exceeded its authority under Section 232. Chief Justice Roberts wrote that the law doesn't grant presidents unlimited power to impose tariffs for economic reasons disguised as national security. The majority sided with steel importing businesses, setting a stricter standard for invoking Section 232. The decision immediately lifts the tariffs, forcing rapid market adjustments. Industries relying on imported metals celebrated, while domestic producers braced for increased competition. Dissenting justices argued national security decisions belong to the executive, but the majority's view now sets the precedent. This ruling restores a vital check on executive power in trade. The Supreme Court's decision was met with relief and optimism by America's allies. The EU, Canada, and Mexico quickly announced plans to lift retaliatory tariffs, promising a boost for U.S. exporters. Officials called the ruling a victory for rules-based trade and a step toward repairing strained relationships. China's response was measured, urging the U.S. to adhere to WTO principles while acknowledging ongoing trade tensions. Analysts say the decision won't solve all disputes, but it creates a more stable environment for future negotiations. The ruling demonstrates the U.S. system's ability to check executive overreach, restoring predictability for global businesses. International organizations see this as a reaffirmation of multilateral agreements. For businesses worldwide, the decision signals hope for an end to disruptive trade wars. Wall Street cheered the Supreme Court's ruling, with major indices surging over 2%. Companies reliant on steel and aluminum like automakers and construction firms saw their stocks jump as material costs are expected to fall. U.S. steel and aluminum producers, however, faced sharp declines amid fears of increased foreign competition. Economists note that while tariffs generated revenue, most costs were passed to American businesses and consumers. The market's reaction reflects optimism for lower costs, reduced inflation, and renewed access to foreign markets. The end of tariffs is forecasted to boost GDP and job growth, especially in export-driven sectors. The transition will challenge domestic metals producers, but the consensus is clear. Freer trade benefits the broader economy. Investors are betting on a more stable, prosperous future. The trade war's impact was deeply personal for American business owners and workers. Sarah Wells, a small business owner, testified that tariffs cost her $20,000, forcing layoffs and halting growth. Across the country, entrepreneurs face soaring material costs, lost contracts, and tough choices. While some steel towns saw brief revivals, the benefits were limited and often offset by higher prices for manufacturers. Retaliatory tariffs hit farmers hard, slashing prices and market access, pushing some family farms to the brink. Federal aid offered little comfort compared to lost trading relationships. For many, tariffs were a direct threat to their livelihoods. Today's ruling offers hope for recovery and a return to stability. The human cost of the trade war will not be forgotten. Legal experts hailed the Supreme Court's decision as a vital rebalancing of power between Congress and the president. Trade law specialist Jennifer Hillman notes the ruling restores Congress's role in trade and taxation. The court set a higher bar for using national security as a justification for tariffs, curbing executive overreach. Future presidents will find it harder to act unilaterally on trade, encouraging more negotiation and legislation. The decision limits a tool used by both parties, reinforcing that the power to tax belongs to Congress. Analysts predict a more collaborative approach to trade policy. The ruling is a clear check on the imperial presidency. Even as the Section 232 ruling reverberates, the Supreme Court is weighing another major case: tariffs imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA. IEEPA gives presidents broad authority during national emergencies, but critics argue it's being used to bypass Congress's power to tax. President Trump used IEEPA to impose sweeping tariffs, citing threats from drug trafficking and trade deficits. Justices expressed skepticism, questioning whether tariffs are taxes, and if the president can impose them unilaterally. Billions in collected tariffs, and potentially massive refunds, hang in the balance. A ruling against the government could reshape presidential power and federal finances. Businesses are watching closely, hoping for relief from another layer of costly tariffs. The outcome could be even more consequential than today's decision. The Supreme Court's decision marks a new era for American trade, setting the stage for significant changes in how the United States interacts with the global economy. This ruling is more than just a legal milestone. It's a turning point that will ripple through industries, communities, and households across the nation. The Biden administration now faces the complex task of coordinating the removal of tariffs, working closely with international partners to ensure a smooth transition. At the same time, America's allies are preparing to dismantle their own retaliatory measures, signaling a renewed commitment to open markets and cooperation. Congress is called to reclaim its constitutional role in shaping trade policy, crafting a modern strategy that supports workers, encourages innovation, and ensures fair competition in a rapidly changing world. Lawmakers must balance the interests of various industries while keeping the needs of everyday Americans at the forefront. For businesses and consumers, the end of tariffs promises lower costs, greater stability, and increased access to a wider range of goods. Small businesses may find new opportunities to grow, while families could see their purchasing power improve as prices stabilize. Domestic metals producers, however, will face new challenges as global competition intensifies. Policymakers must work with industry leaders to help them adapt, invest in innovation, and support workers through this transition, ensuring that American manufacturing remains strong. The ruling is a powerful reminder of the real-world impact of trade policy and the importance of democratic engagement. Every citizen has a stake in these decisions, and public participation will shape the path forward. The legal battles have spotlighted the delicate balance of power between branches of government and reinforced the enduring importance of the rule of law in American society. Stay informed and involved. Trade decisions affect us all, shaping the jobs we hold, the products we buy, and the future we build together. The future of the American economy depends on what happens next, and together, we have the power to shape it.